Courtois defends Lammens after heartbreaking World Cup exit against Spain. Welcome back to Carrick United Analysis, the channel thousands of United fans trust every single week for honest, clear, and reliable news about our club. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel has become the true home for fans who want the real story, without the noise and without the guessing games. Today we have an emotional story to cover, one that involves our very own Senne Lammens, and it shows exactly why this young goalkeeper has the character and the support around him to bounce back stronger than ever. Following Belgium's heartbreaking 2-1 defeat to Spain in the World Cup quarterfinal, goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois came out in strong defense of his teammate Senne Lammens after a late mistake cost Belgium the match. Courtois was forced off in tears with a quad muscle injury in the 71st minute, meaning Manchester United goalkeeper Senne Lammens had to make his World Cup debut under the most intense pressure imaginable. Then, in the 88th minute, Lammens spilled a long-range shot from Pau Cubarsí, allowing Spanish super sub Mikel Merino to pounce on the rebound and score the winning goal. Despite the crushing exit, Courtois immediately stepped in to support the 24-year-old, insisting that mistakes like this are simply part of being a goalkeeper, and backing Lammens, who he described as having a strong personality, to bounce back even stronger from this experience. Courtois expressed full and complete confidence in Lammens' future at Manchester United. Let us start with a big question right away. What does it say about a young goalkeeper when one of the greatest goalkeepers of his entire generation immediately steps in to defend him after a costly mistake on the biggest stage in world football? It tells us everything about how highly Lammens is already respected inside that Belgium dressing room, even after such a painful moment. Today we are going to break this entire story down, covering exactly what happened in the match, what Courtois said, and why United fans should feel genuinely encouraged rather than discouraged by everything that unfolded in this game. Let us get into it. How this dramatic situation unfolded. Let us walk through exactly how this incredible and emotional sequence of events took place. Courtois started the match in goal for Belgium, as he always does, bringing his usual calm, experienced presence to one of the most important matches of the entire tournament. Everything appeared to be progressing normally until early in the second half, when Courtois first felt discomfort near his quad muscle following a long kick upfield. Rather than coming off immediately, Courtois continued playing, making several more saves and feeling confident enough in his own condition to try and continue. However, after kicking the ball again a short while later, the discomfort increased, and Belgium's coaching staff made the decision that he needed to be substituted, purely as a precaution to ensure a fully fit goalkeeper remained between the posts for the remainder of the match. Here is a fair question to ask yourself. How difficult do you think it is, mentally, for any player, let alone one of the best goalkeepers in the world, to be forced off the pitch during a World Cup quarterfinal, especially when he still believed he could continue? Courtois was visibly emotional as he left the pitch, and was consoled by his teammates in what was clearly a difficult and painful moment for him personally. Senne Lammens thrown into the fire with Courtois unable to continue. Senne Lammens was called into action, entering the match in the 71st minute for what was only his third international cap, and his very first involvement at this World Cup. Think about the sheer scale of that moment for a young goalkeeper. No warm-up period spread across multiple matches. No gradual introduction into tournament football. Just an immediate, high-pressure introduction into one of the most important knockout matches in the entire competition, with the score level and a place in the World Cup semi-final on the line. Here is a question worth sitting with. How many young goalkeepers around the world could realistically be expected to walk into a situation like that, with almost no preparation time, and perform without feeling completely overwhelmed by the pressure of the occasion? This is precisely the kind of moment that tests not just a player's technical ability, but his entire mental and emotional resilience. For a large portion of his time on the pitch, Lammens performed his role solidly, helping Belgium continue to compete in a tense, tightly contested match. Then, in the 88th minute, with the game still level and extra time edging closer, Spain's Pau Cubarsí struck a long-range effort toward goal. Lammens got a strong hand to the shot, but was unable to hold on to it cleanly, and the ball spilled directly into the path of the on-rushing Mikel Merino, who reacted quickest to bundle the ball home and send Spain through to the semi-final. Here is a fair question to think about. How much of football, at the very highest level, comes down to fine, split-second margins like this one, where a save that is almost perfect still ends up costing a team everything? This was an incredibly difficult moment for Lammens, and understandably, he was visibly devastated in the immediate aftermath of the final whistle. Courtois immediately steps in to support his teammate. This is where the story becomes genuinely inspiring, despite the disappointing result. Rather than allowing the mistake to become the only story from that match, Courtois immediately moved to support Lammens both emotionally and publicly, ensuring his young teammate did not have to process this heartbreaking moment alone. Courtois revealed that he gave Lammens a big hug immediately after the match, acknowledging that there was little more practical support he could offer in that moment beyond simple human comfort and reassurance. He openly admitted that for any goalkeeper, conceding a costly mistake in a moment like this produces an awful, sinking feeling, one that only fellow goalkeepers can truly understand at that level of intensity. Here is a question worth thinking about. Why does support like this, coming specifically from another elite-level goalkeeper, carry so much more weight than reassurance from almost anyone else involved in football? Goalkeeping is often described as one of the loneliest positions in the entire sport, with mistakes appearing far more visible and far more costly than errors in almost any other position on the pitch. Having someone like Courtois, who has experienced the highest highs and lowest lows of goalkeeping across an incredible career, step forward with genuine empathy and support, carries enormous value for a young player processing a difficult moment like this one. What Courtois actually said about Lammens. Courtois did not hold back in his public praise and support for Lammens following the match. He described Lammens as a great goalkeeper, insisting that this kind of setback would only make him stronger moving forward, rather than being viewed as any kind of long-term problem. He made clear that there was little more advice or guidance he could offer beyond that point, recognizing that Lammens, as a strong character with a strong personality, would find his own way to process and move past this difficult experience. Courtois went further still, expressing complete confidence that Lammens would take some time to rest, regroup, and then return to Manchester United ready to have an excellent season ahead. He stated plainly that he had no doubt about this at all. Here is a fair question to ask yourself. How much reassurance do you think it gives a young goalkeeper, especially in the immediate aftermath of such a painful moment, to hear one of the greatest goalkeepers of his generation publicly declare total confidence in his ability to bounce back? This kind of public backing from a senior, respected figure can play a genuinely important role in helping a young player process a setback in a healthy, constructive way, rather than allowing it to damage his long-term confidence. Why Courtois respected the manager's decision. Let us also address the second part of this story, involving Courtois' own substitution earlier in the match. Courtois made clear that he personally wanted to continue playing, even after first feeling discomfort in his quad muscle. He explained that he had wanted to wait a further 5 or 10 minutes to properly assess his own condition, since he still felt he was making saves competently in that moment. However, Belgium's coaching staff made the decision that they needed a fully fit goalkeeper for the remainder of such a crucial match and substituted him accordingly. Courtois was fully respectful of this decision, acknowledging clearly that it was the coach's call to make, and stating plainly that he understood and accepted the reasoning behind it, even while admitting his own personal preference would have been to continue. Here is a question worth thinking about. Why does it matter that even one of the best goalkeepers in the world fully respected a decision he personally disagreed with, especially in such a high-pressure, high-stakes moment? This reflects real professionalism and maturity, prioritizing the team's overall interest and long-term physical safety ahead of individual preference, even in the most emotionally charged circumstances imaginable. Why this story should encourage United fans rather than worry them. It would be completely understandable for some fans to feel initial concern seeing their goalkeeper involved in a costly mistake on such a big stage. However, there are several good reasons why this entire story should actually leave United supporters feeling encouraged rather than discouraged. First, think about the context surrounding this specific moment. Lammens was thrown into an incredibly difficult situation with almost no warm-up period, replacing an injured teammate in the tensest possible circumstances during a World Cup quarterfinal. Very few goalkeepers anywhere in world football could be expected to walk into that exact scenario without facing some kind of adjustment challenge. Second, and perhaps most importantly, consider just how much respect and confidence Lammens clearly already commands within that Belgium dressing room. For Courtois, one of the greatest goalkeepers in modern football history, to immediately and publicly defend him, describing him as a great goalkeeper with a strong personality, tells us everything about how highly regarded Lammens already is among his peers, even after this difficult moment. Here is a fair question to ask yourself. Do you think a goalkeeper without genuine quality and character would receive this kind of immediate, heartfelt public backing from someone like Courtois? Almost certainly not. This level of support reflects genuine respect built through consistent performance and character, not simply polite kindness offered out of obligation. Why mistakes like this are part of every goalkeeper's journey, it is worth remembering that even the very best goalkeepers in football history have experienced costly, high-profile mistakes at some stage in their careers. Courtois himself acknowledged this directly, describing the specific, sinking feeling that only goalkeepers can truly understand when a mistake like this happens on such a big stage. Here is a question worth sitting with. Can you think of any truly great goalkeeper throughout football history who has never experienced a costly, high-profile error at some point in their career? The honest answer is no. Mistakes are simply part of playing in one of the most exposed and high-pressure positions in the entire sport. What matters far more than the mistake itself is how a player responds to it, both mentally and in his performances that follow. Lammens already won recognition as one of the standout performers in the Premier League last season during his debut campaign at Old Trafford, a clear sign of the genuine quality and mental resilience he possesses. A single difficult moment on the international stage, especially in such an unusual and pressurized set of circumstances, does not erase that broader body of excellent work. What this means for Lammens heading into next season. Let us think carefully about what this experience could actually mean for Lammens moving forward. Difficult moments like this one, especially when followed by immediate support and encouragement from respected figures like Courtois, can often become powerful turning points in a young player's career rather than long-term setbacks. Here is a fair question to consider. Do you believe experiences like this one, however painful in the moment, ultimately help build the kind of mental toughness and resilience that top-level goalkeepers need over a long, demanding career? Many respected voices in football would argue strongly that yes, these difficult moments, when processed properly with the right support around a player, often become important building blocks in a goalkeeper's long-term development and mental strength. With Courtois expressing total confidence that Lammens will rest, regroup, and return to Manchester United ready for an excellent season, United fans have every reason to remain fully confident in their goalkeeper heading into the new campaign. What to watch for next? As Lammens returns from international duty and prepares for pre-season with Manchester United, here are a few things worth keeping an eye on. Watch closely for how quickly he settles back into training once pre-season begins in full. Keep an eye on his early performances in pre-season friendlies, since these matches will offer the first real signs of how he has processed this experience heading into the new season. And pay attention to how Michael Carrick and his coaching staff manage his return, ensuring he gets the right balance of support and playing time as the new campaign approaches. This channel will continue tracking every single update connected to Lammens as preseason progresses. From training ground reports, to early friendly match performances, to further reaction from within the game, Carrick United analysis will be right here bringing you the full picture, explained in simple and honest language every single time. Wrapping things up. So there we have it. Following Belgium's heartbreaking World Cup quarterfinal exit against Spain, Thibaut Courtois came out in strong and immediate defense of Senne Lammens, after a difficult late mistake cost Belgium their place in the semi-final. Thrown into an incredibly pressurized situation following Courtois' own injury, Lammens experienced a painful moment on the biggest stage in world football, but received immediate, heartfelt backing from one of the greatest goalkeepers of his generation, who expressed total confidence in his ability to bounce back stronger than ever. For United fans, this story should bring genuine reassurance rather than concern. A costly mistake in an extraordinarily difficult set of circumstances does not erase everything Lammens has already shown during his outstanding debut season at Old Trafford. With the full backing of respected figures like Courtois and a fresh preseason ahead of him at Manchester United, there is every reason to believe Lammens will return from this experience stronger, sharper, and more determined than ever. Thank you so much for reading and for being part of this community here at Carrick United Analysis. If this breakdown helped you understand this emotional story a little better, please share it with fellow United fans who need the real story instead of guesswork. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, turn on notifications so you never miss an update, and drop a comment below telling us how confident you are feeling about Senne Lammens heading into the new season. We will see you in the next one, right here at Carrick United Analysis, your trusted home for honest Manchester United coverage. Glory, glory, Man United.